What's going on, guys? It's Jalan coming back with another episode of my weekly recap. Today, currently, is December 3rd, 2018, and this is going to be episode 48 of my weekly recap. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Wow, I can't believe we are at the last month of 2018 already. Time has gone by super fast since I started the journey. I can't wait to finish this thing strong and have another awesome year. Let's jump into what I've done this past week at work. Primarily finishing up the final touches on the release and actually got the release pushed out. So I'm super happy about that. Super proud of the team, and actually learned a lot from this release and being in a new company and had to learn the ins and outs of the project. They had to learn the projects pretty relatively quickly on the fly. I'm super proud of that and thankful for the people who have helped me to help to get some of the tasks done and completed. And thank you for their guidance and their patience and everything. Definitely learned a lot, and today I also had a chance to reflect on our progress on our previous release at work. Tons of great comments and tons of good feedbacks from people and tons of things that I could learn from my experience in the past few months. So I'm super excited about what's to come and what I can accomplish in 1.3 in this new up and coming new release that we have already started planning on today. So it's crazy how in the technology industries that there's no breaks, right? We kind of just on the go, on the fly. When we're done with one thing, we'll kind of just hop onto another thing. So we don't really take time to slow down and really enjoy the process of what we have accomplished and take time to celebrate what we have done. I think that's one of the components that's lacking in our current society and our work environment, is that we're constantly on the go. We're also so busy, working 40, 50 or 60-hour weeks all the time. So, and sometimes it can burn us up, but nonetheless, that's how it is, and you just gotta keep up with the pace. And I'm trying to take the most out of my experience and learn from that. So shifting gear onto what I've done outside of work. To be honest, I've been slacking this past week in my keeping up with the readings and learning. Right. Nonetheless, I still keep up with the podcast from from my daily commute. I'm still keeping up with that. It's going super strong. I absolutely love that time. But in terms of just actually picking up the book and actually flipping through the pages, it's what I have struggled or been slacking on this past week. I'm not sure why. I think I know why. It's probably because of this device that I just got recently, and I just don't have the self-control to say no and to limit myself from this thing. Yeah, so that's something I need to work on a lot more, and that's something new I learned about myself. I was not as strong as I thought I was. I thought I was able to limit, to be self-disciplined enough to put a restriction and limitation on this thing, but it turns out I was wrong. And this also proves to the case of how the addicting technologies is, especially new gadgets and everything. It can be an addiction. It can break some of the habits, the good habits that you have formed previously. So it's a learning process. I'm sure I'll get back to the place that I was before, and just gotta work on it, right? The last thing I want to touch on is really about basketball, right? I play basketball this past weekend with a buddy of mine, two buddies of mine, and I was so out of shape. Honestly, I was so out of shape. That's kind of how I felt when I was climbing up Dog Mountain 2 weeks ago. Super out of shape. That goes to prove that like anything that you don't practice, you just get out of the routine. You lose your endurance. You lose everything. What you don't practice on is you just lose it. You just don't retain it. So I was definitely out of shape, but yeah, and I'm super sore today because of that, because of the lack of practice and lack of consistency in exercising. So I gotta do a better job at that. It's more difficult with an office job and almost stuck in the rat race again, right? Just going there and I'm not really prioritizing my health. And that's something I need to be better at. I need to um, figure out the why behind that. So another thing that I want to touch on along with basketball that I've experienced is the idea of social compliance. I watched this documentary by Darren Brown's named "The Push," of how you want to see if social compliance can influence someone to commit murder. And that was so profound for me, the documentary, that I started looking things differently. And after the basketball session, I started reflecting on a particular scenario, a particular instance when I was playing basketball, of how social compliance kind of play into how I behave and how I didn't speak up and how I didn't be the outlier of the crowd and really speak up for something that I thought would be important. There was kind of also an inner debate in me when at the moment, but it wasn't strong enough to compel me to say something, and I recognize that, I see it. So it's very powerful. I think the first step for me is to recognize it and see it. The second, and then the next step will be to take action on that. Once I realize something is not the way that I think it should be. So always a learning moment. Always finding situations and different angles into how I can become better and how I can live a more fulfilling life and stand up for my beliefs and what I think is right. So overall, now I recognize that situation. I'm self-aware and I see it. So now I just need a trigger to be there to where I can speak up from it. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting things that I observe and saw over the past weekend. So it's been profounding. I'll absolutely recommend. I would highly recommend that documentary to people who haven't seen it before. So just check it out. I think it's going to open up your how you see things differently. It's going to open up your world and the way that you look at things. So anyway, that's pretty much all I want to touch on in this week's weekly recap. Hope everybody had an awesome week, and today is a new week. Go out there and crush it. I think I crushed Monday already, so I just got to be better tomorrow. And yeah, hope you guys had a fantastic weekend, and I will talk to you guys very soon again. Love you guys. Bye.